We have more my A Long Halloween Night story. So yeah.
A Long Halloween Night, Volume 2, Issue Number 1. Future You, Future Me, Part 2. Year 2022. The night air is cold. Leaves scrape across the pavement of a quiet street in Ashmore, carried by a slow October wind. A woman stands alone under a flickering streetlight. Her name is Cassidy Vane. But this is not the same Cassidy the world once knew. Her face is older now, tired, worn down by decades of things no one else remembers. Her coat is dark, her eyes sharp, and in her hand she holds something strange. A small mechanical device humming with faint blue light. She looks down at it. Her voice is calm, but heavy with regret. This is the only way. The device pulses. Around her, the air begins to distort, like heat rising from asphalt. The world bends. The wind stops. Time itself begins to tear open. Cassidy closes her eyes. If I don't do this, everything still happens. The device activates, and suddenly, reality collapses around her. October 31st, 1976. Halloween night. Cassidy crashes onto wet grass. She gasps for air. The world spins. The smell of pumpkins and burning leaves fills the air. Kids laugh in the distance. Cassidy slowly lifts her head. Street decorations hang from telephone poles, paper skeletons, plastic ghosts, jack-o'-lanterns glowing in windows. She knows this night. She remembers it better than any other. Because this was the night everything started. Cassidy stands slowly. Her voice is quiet. 1976. She looks down at her hands. They are still older, still scarred, still shaking. It worked. But then she sees her. Across the street, standing under a teenage girl in a simple Halloween costume, a black jacket, messy hair, candy bag hanging from her wrist. 17 years old, laughing with friends, carefree, alive. Cassidy's breath stops. Because the girl is her. Young Cassidy Vane. For a moment, the future Cassidy cannot move. Her chest tightens because she remembers what happens later tonight. The mistake, the choice, the thing that ruins everything. She whispers softly, God, I was so young. Young Cassidy says goodbye to her friends and begins walking home alone. Future Cassidy follows from a distance, watching, studying, remembering every detail, the street, the houses, the sound of distant music from someone's Halloween party. She remembers this walk. Because someone was watching her that night, but back then, she never saw who it was. Future Cassidy stops walking. Her eyes slowly scan the darkness, every shadow, every parked car, every alley. Something in her voice changes, cold, serious. You're here tonight too, aren't you? A trash can rattles in a nearby alley. Cassidy turns sharply, but there's nothing there. The wind blows harder now. Leaves swirl across the street. Young Cassidy stops walking. She senses something too. Future Cassidy realizes something terrifying. The timeline hasn't changed yet. The event is still coming, and she now remembers the truth. Because the person who ruins her life tonight isn't a stranger. It's someone she trusted. Future Cassidy clenches her fist. Her voice shakes slightly. I came back to stop this. Across the street, young Cassidy finally notices her. The teenager squints, confused. She walks toward the older woman. Future Cassidy freezes. Young Cassidy stops a few feet away, staring. Something about the woman's face looks familiar. Young Cassidy tilts her head. Do I know you? Future Cassidy slowly exhales. 30 years of pain in her eyes. She whispers softly. Yeah. A tear rolls down her cheek. You do. The wind howls louder. And somewhere in the darkness of Ashmore, something else is watching the two of them, waiting. To be continued, Future You, Future Me, Part 3.
And that's not coming in this volume. At least not for now, because we have issue number 2, which goes back to the multi-part thing. So, yeah. Now here is this issue right here.
A Long Halloween Night, Volume 2, Issue Number 2, Part 1, Halloween 1995. The girl who sees the dead. Ashmore had many old houses, but Briarwood Lane was the oldest street of them all. On Halloween night in 1995, a 15-year-old girl named Lydia Hart sat alone on the front steps of her grandmother's house. Kids ran past her wearing masks and costumes, vampires, ghosts, skeletons. But Lydia wasn't looking at them. She was staring at the figure standing across the street. A pale man, dressed in old clothing from another century, his neck twisted at an unnatural angle, and no one else could see him. Because Lydia Hart had a gift, or a curse. She could see the dead. The ghost slowly raised a shaking hand and pointed toward the woods at the end of the street, toward a place called Hollow Creek Bridge. Lydia whispered quietly, "What happened to you?" The ghost's mouth opened. But no sound came out. Then suddenly, more figures appeared, dozens of them, ghosts, men, women, children, all silently staring toward the woods, all pointing toward the same direction. Something terrible had happened there, and tonight, the dead wanted Lydia to see it. Part 2, October 31st, 1600. The Devourer Beneath Ash. Long before Ashmore was a town, it was just wilderness, deep forests, rolling hills, and something else beneath the ground. Something ancient. A small group of settlers traveled through the area carrying lanterns as night fell. They were trying to find land to build their homes, but one of them stopped. The ground was shaking, slowly, like something moving underground. Suddenly, the earth exploded. A massive worm-like creature burst from the soil. Its body was enormous, thick like a tree trunk. Its mouth opened wide, revealing rows of spinning teeth like a grinding mill. The settlers screamed. The creature devoured one man whole. Another tried to run, but the ground collapsed beneath him as the monster tunneled through the dirt like a living earthquake. Within minutes, the entire group was gone. The creature sank back beneath the earth, returning to the darkness below, waiting. Because the people who would build Ashmore had no idea. They were building their town on top of something alive. Part 3. Halloween 2002. The things in Blackwater Bay. Ashmore's harbor district had always been quiet, but the fishermen of Blackwater Bay had been complaining about something strange. Their nets kept coming back destroyed, and sometimes full of bones. On Halloween night in 2002, 3 teenagers snuck down to the docks after hearing rumors of something living in the water. They laughed, joked, filmed everything with a small camcorder. One of them shined a flashlight into the dark water. Something moved. At first, it looked like fish, but then they surfaced. Their bodies were long and slick. Their eyes were huge and glowing. Their mouths filled with needle-like teeth. One of the creatures climbed onto the dock, then another, then another. The teenagers ran, but one slipped, and the camera fell to the ground. The last thing the recording captured was the sound of wet, crawling bodies dragging him into the ocean. The creatures disappeared beneath the waves, returning to the deep water. Part 4, Night Return of the Goat Man. The desert outside Ashmore was empty. Dry land, dust, silence. Except for the museum transport truck driving along the road. Inside the truck was a strange cargo. The mummified remains of Byrock, the Goat Man. The legendary killer from the hills. The driver yawned. Then the radio suddenly crackled with static. The truck began shaking. From inside the cargo container, something moved. The driver slammed the brakes. He stepped out to check the back. He opened the truck doors. Inside the container, the coffin was broken and the mummified body was gone. Behind him, a heavy thud echoed in the desert sand. The driver slowly turned around. Standing there was a tall figure, a man wearing a rotting goat skull, holding an axe. The Goat Man had returned. Part 5, Epilogue. Silence, Halloween night. 2026. A man walked through Ashmore's Riverside district late at night. He never heard the footsteps behind him, never heard the blade being drawn. The killer moved like a shadow, a black cloak flowing behind them, a blank white mask hiding their face. The man turned around, but it was already too late. The butcher's knife flashed once in the darkness. Then everything went quiet. The body collapsed onto the pavement. The killer stood there for a moment, silent, watching, then slowly disappeared into the night. The next day, police tape surrounded the crime scene. Red and blue lights flashed across the street. A tall man stepped under the tape, studying the body carefully. His name was Detective Elias Crow, one of Ashmore's best investigators. He knelt beside the victim, examining the wounds, deep, precise, clean. Crow stood up slowly. He had seen this kind of killing before. His partner asked quietly, "Serial killer?" Crow stared down the empty street. His voice was calm, cold. "Yes." He looked at the knife wound again. Same killer. He spoke the name everyone in the department had started whispering. The Silencer. Crow looked toward the distant buildings of Ashmore, because something told him this was only the beginning. To be continued in issue number 3.
Okay, I have 2 images I want to show you that I had ChatGPT make. Yum yum. First, this is the map of Ashmore from Volume 1. Okay, so one of these is missing, and that's legend number 8, Ashmore Sewer System. Because number 8 ain't on here. They have a 14 on here, though. Which I don't know why. But we have, the castle. Castle ruins. The old Church of the Hollow. Got Ashmore War Memorial Archive. Over in this area. The old highway intersection, Ashmore National Forest campgrounds over here, at the Ashmore Lake, Resident Hill over there, which is on a hill actually, okay. The old highway intersection, okay, so there's 2, yeah, for number 6, because it's a highway. The St. Merit Mental Hospital right there, the Ashmore East High School, Ashmore, another one that says Ashmore East High School. So, okay, not really good with mapping, but it could just say that this is in the area of it. And then outside of Ash is the VR area. But I'm going to say that the water right there is the sewer system. Or the creepy tree fucking thing right here. Actually, yeah, the creepy tree thing is the sewer system area. That's what I'm going to say, because it has a creepy tree thing. And there's creepy fuckers here. I didn't notice all the creepy shit. I noticed the crow, but it says legend, Boo. And then the Ashmore sewer system. And the McLean residence. Those are the only 2 that aren't on the map but are listed. I'm going to have another map with the story, with the locations from these upcoming stories. And we have, this is what I believe the Silencer would look like. A blank white mask that shows no emotion. And a classic cloak. So a mixture of Michael Myers, kinda, and Ghostface. But I know that I knew people were going to say that. So that's why I said that. But, I just like the look. The design of this look, of a blank white mat, since, he's known as a Silencer. He doesn't need to be all, oh, I'm evil type of outfit, And, of course, he ain't gonna show his face because he's a murderer. So, yeah, but that's it. Bye for now.